What followed me home at 1 a.m. will give you chills. About 5 years ago I lived downtown in a major US city. I've always been a night person, so after my roommate, who was the exact opposite, went to bed, I'd often find myself wide awake with nothing to do. To kill the hours, I started going for long walks. It became a habit, almost a ritual, and I grew to love the quiet and stillness of the city at night. For 4 years I walked like that, usually between midnight and 3 in the morning, and in all that time, I never once had a reason to be afraid. I'd joke with my roommate that even the drug dealers were polite. The city was rough in the daytime, but at night it felt like mine alone. But all of that changed one Wednesday morning in a matter of minutes. It was somewhere between 1 and 2. I was near a police-patrolled park, about 20 minutes from my apartment. It was the kind of night where even the air felt quiet. The streets were empty, traffic nearly non-existent, and the park itself was still. I turned down a short side street to loop back home when I noticed him. At the far end of the block, directly on my path, was the silhouette of a man. He was dancing. The movements were slow, deliberate, almost like a waltz, but with each box step he ended in a long, exaggerated forward stride. He was dance-walking straight toward me. At first I figured he was drunk. I stepped closer to the curb to give him the bulk of the sidewalk. But the closer he came, the more I realized how unnervingly smooth his movements were. He was tall and lanky, dressed in what looked like an old suit. When his face came into view, my stomach tightened. His eyes were wide and wild, tilted up toward the sky, and his mouth was stretched into a grotesque cartoon smile. Between the eyes and that grin, I crossed the street before he got any closer. When I reached the other side, I glanced back and froze. He had stopped dancing. Now he was standing with one foot in the street, perfectly aligned with me, facing forward but still gazing skyward, smile frozen on his lips. I kept walking, keeping him in sight. He didn't move. Once I'd put half a block between us, I finally looked forward. The street ahead was empty, but when I glanced back, he was gone. Relief hit me, until I saw him again. He had crossed the street and was crouched low, seemingly staring in my direction. I had looked away for less than 10 seconds. He had covered the distance impossibly fast. Shock rooted me in place. I stared at him, unsure of what to do. Then he began moving again, giant, exaggerated tiptoe steps, like a cartoon character sneaking up, except he was moving fast, far too fast for how he looked. I'd like to say I ran, or that I pulled out my phone or pepper spray, but I didn't. I just stood there, frozen, as the smiling man crept toward me. He stopped a car length away. His head stayed tilted, eyes skyward, grin wide as ever. Finally I managed to speak. I wanted to sound strong, to yell, "What the fuck do you want?" But what came out was a broken whimper. "What the foo?" The fear in my own voice only made me more terrified. He didn't flinch, he just stood there, smiling. After what felt like forever, he turned. Slowly, deliberately, he began dance walking away. I didn't dare turn my back, so I just watched him retreat until he was nearly gone. Then suddenly, I realized something. He wasn't retreating at all. The distant figure was growing larger again. He was coming back, and this time, he was running. I ran too. I bolted down the street, heart hammering, until I reached a better lit road with a few cars passing through. Only then did I look back. He was gone. The rest of the way home I kept checking over my shoulder, fully expecting to see that awful smile again. But he never appeared. I stayed in that city for another 6 months, but I never took another night walk. The image of his face followed me. He didn't look drunk. He didn't look high. He looked completely and utterly insane. And that, I realized, is the scariest thing of all.